Hey guys, welcome to this Angular tutorial. We will build an Angular application which accesses a web service to print a list of characters from the Star Wars universe. For this tutorial, we will use Angular tools provided by CodeMix. To start, from CodeMix view, select Angular and then Angular 101. Create a simple application tutorial. This will create the project we will use to this video. So we have it now. Let's move on to the next step. Angular projects depends on several packages to run. Those are listed in the dependencies property of the package.json file. In order to install them, we need a terminal, and it can be opened by hitting Shift-Command-P on Mac or Shift-Ctrl-P on Linux and Windows. The quick open pop-up comes out. Type in terminal and a list of available commands is shown. Select the Create New Integrated Terminal command. Now we have a terminal, and let's type in the npm install command and hit enter. The npm package manager tool will take care of installing all required packages by the project. This might take a few minutes. All required dependency has been installed. It's time to create a component. Angular applications are composed of components. To create a component, to right-click on the project or the app folder and select New Component. For the name of the component, type star-wars-people. Don't skip the dashes. They are important for Angular naming style. The component will be created in a few seconds. Here it is. Let's take a look what we have here. The new component wizard created a folder with the same name as the component. On it, 4 files has been created as well. The CSS one will be used for styling, the HTML for the template, the specs.ts for testing, and the TS file will hold the component's main logic, as we will see later on. As we mentioned in the course intro, we will use a web service to pull data from backend. So it's time to start working on the implementation of our Angular service. First of all, we need to import HttpClient module, which provides the API we will use for such. Now let's create our Angular service. Let's do it in the components folder and use the same name as we did for the component. Don't forget the dashes, and don't worry, file names will be qualified with .service to differentiate them from the component ones. Let's start setting up our service by injecting the Angular built-in HttpClient service imported on the previous step. As you can see, there is an injectable tag corrector. This is required to inject services into a service. Now we need to add the code that will take care of the request. Let's add the getStarWarsPeople method. Here we will use the HTTP object injected and select the get method and pass as a parameter the URL from where the data will be retrieved. The service is ready. We have now to make it accessible to the whole application by adding it to the provider's property in the app module file. The auto import action will take care of adding the import required. Now let's move on to set up the component. The component TS file is the one that takes care of the main logic of the component. In this one, we will call the service just created to pull data and save it to make it available for the template. First, we need to prepare the component to save the received data and then inject the service into the component to start using it. We are ready now to use the service. Let's call it from the ng-onInit method. This method is executed during the component initialization. In order to receive the data, the method we created on the service returns an observable object. This one runs async, thus we need to use the subscribe method to listen for a response with the data. You can look into the Angular documentation for further information regarding the observables. So, once the data is received, let's save it in memory. Component is ready. Now, it's time to work on the template for displaying the data. For this, Emmet is a powerful tool that helps to save a lot of time writing code. Writing an Emmet abbreviation, which the syntax has been inspired by CSS selectors, will be transformed into a structured code block. Also, there is a set of snippets for Angular directives, like ngIf and ngIf4, the ones that we'll use, that can be accessed by typing ng in the element where you want to use them. And a list of available options will be displayed for you to choose. Finally, we need to display the data. Angular provides several types for data binding to pass data between the component and the HTML element. In this case, we will be using string interpolation for accessing the data and displaying it. And now finally, we need to include our components selector in the applications template, and we are now ready to go. To launch our application, just right-click on the project and select Run as Angular Web Application. An entry on the server's view is added, showing our server status, and after a few seconds, a browser window will be opened with the list of Star Wars people we just coded. That's about it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed this quick introduction to Angular, do consider subscribing. We have a lot of more content planned. If you don't have CodeMix installed yet, remember installation instructions as well as project sources are in the description. If you have questions or comments, leave a comment or get in touch with us via email or Twitter. Thank you.